Hey, what's up guys, this is Project. A couple of you were asking for a macro guide, so what I'm going to do for you today is take you through a couple of really simple macros that will make you a lot more effective in Arena and in Battlegrounds for sure. So, here they are. Okay, we got our macro panel right here. I've got, first and foremost, the most basic macro I can possibly have. If you guys don't have this, it's a focus arena macro for my frost strike. The cool thing is, the reason I have it named as rune dump is it's going to cast frost strike right now, but if you switch to unholy or you switch to blood, that same macro is going to cast death coil. It's going to change to death coil because frost strike and death coil are the same thing, and the coding works that way. So if you type in death coil or frost strike there, it's going to switch back and forth between specs. It's also going to cast blood tap if I have blood tap selected, and it's going to focus arena 2 in this case, or you can change that to arena 1 like this, and then it's also going to start my auto attacks, and that's huge, right? Because our auto attacks are the thing that proc our killing machine, and that's what's going to make you guarantee a crit from your obliterate. So make sure that that's in there. I do the exact same thing with my obliterate slash cast blood tap. I actually need to have start attack in there. It's not actually necessary because there's no real issue with your auto attack starting after obliterate, but just to make sure that the coding doesn't go weird on you in the middle of the game, I do it as well. I do the same thing for Howling Blast with the start attack, and let me show you exactly why starting your auto attacks is important. You'll notice that I've got all my training dummies here. I'm going to set one as focus, and for the purpose of this video, I don't have the set arena 2 thing in the frost strike, just so it doesn't drop my focus frame, just so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to start out with my Howling Blast, right, and I'm going to Howling Blast and then immediately start my auto attack, right? That's what the macro is supposed to do. Now the difference is that when you obliterate, normally your auto attack is going to start right afterwards, and the same thing when you frost strike. So either way, it doesn't seem like that's a big deal, but it is a big deal when you use your normal Howling Blast and your auto attack doesn't start. So that's kind of huge. I definitely recommend putting that in here. Now, there's not really an issue with obliterate doing this. You see my auto attack starts normally with the normal obliterate, and then frost striking it does as well. But there is a little bit of a lag when you use Howling Blast. Watch. See that lag where it has to tell itself to start auto attacking again? Now watch how much faster it is with the macro. Okay, it's a little bit quicker. So if you walk up to somebody that you are not in combat with and you Howling Blast them, as soon as you get to them, your auto attack's gonna start. If you do that, if you walk up to somebody you're not in combat with and you use Howling Blast without the macro, you're just going to stand there and look like an idiot for a couple seconds until you hit your obliterate and start your auto attacks. Okay, so that's pretty important. The Howling Blast macro over the other ones, you don't really need the other ones, but I put them in there just to make sure that if I have blood tap in, I also use those, and I put the start attack in there just as a fail safe, just in case the code goes weird. So for my hate macros, I have 2 hate macros, which is basically what everybody calls a one-shot macro or the Swifty macro or what have you. I have one for Frost and one for Unholy. I have seen a couple of people use the same one for Unholy and Frost, but I find that the more stuff you throw into one of these macros, the more weird it goes on you. So I don't know, I try not to. I don't like to have too much unnecessary stuff in one big huge macro. Like, I understand that like guys that have played Warriors a lot, you know, they're all about like, let me throw as much stuff in a big ass macro as I can and call it good. But the more stuff you put in there, the more you're asking the game to do, the more code you're putting through the game at one time, and honestly, the more buggy it's going to be. So keep your macros really short. Keep them very simple. Make sure that they do what you need them to do, and that's it. Okay. So for Frost, you want to cast your Unholy Blight and cast Pillar of Frost, Blood Fury if you have it, and your Trinket, and that's it. You're gonna walk up to a guy, and say you don't have anything on him, or you're walking into a giant crowd of people. You're gonna cast all your things, and while your Unholy Blight is still up, do all of that. Now remember, your obliterate doesn't scale off of whether or not you have diseases on the target, but diseases help, right? So make sure that you guys are using your Unholy Blight on cooldown. You can have Unholy Blight separate from this, but Unholy Blight is a 1 minute 30-second cooldown, and if you want, you can just put just your burst cooldowns in this macro. You don't have to have Unholy Blight, but I'm an RBG guy. I really like doing a lot of damage in RBG, so what I like to do is while I'm throwing a million dots on everyone, I like for those dots to hit as hard as they possibly can. Because remember, there's not snapshotting anymore. You can't like pop all your everything and all your dots are going to hit as hard as they do right now, right? They're not gonna hit that hard as soon as your cooldowns drop. Snapshotting isn't a thing anymore. So I don't know. For me, I like to pop Unholy Blight, get all those diseases up, and make them really, really big diseases right off the bat. And that was a thing when snapshotting was a thing. This is a great macro. Outside of snapshotting, honestly, it doesn't matter. If you pop all your cooldowns when you have big diseases up on people already, then your diseases you already have on them are going to get bigger. And then a couple more macros that I have, really basic ones. If you're running with this macro and you have your focus, arena, whatever, if you have your arena 1 focused, anything that you have that's a stun or a slow, so like your Asphyxiate, your Chains of Ice, your Death Grip. I'm gonna make a new one right now for Icy Touch, because if you guys are running with the glyph, then you should also have a Icy Touch macro as well, and that's gonna be slash cast at focus Icy Touch. Okay, so we're gonna save that, and we're gonna throw that into Alt Icy Touch button. Okay, so you're gonna be beating on this guy, and he's gonna have something on him that you don't like. Okay, and you want it to go away. You get Icy Touch. So say that the person you have focused, say the healer, does something like bops himself or pops a really big cooldown that you can purge, right? You can just hit your focus macro and it'll Icy Touch the other guy and start pulling stuff off of him. You can also do the same thing with Asphyxiate. You can throw your Asphyxiate on this guy, and then after they use a spell, obviously the dummy's not going to use the spell, but after they use a spell, you can hit your other one, which is mine is over here because I have weird keybinds. But my focus Asphyxiate, or my focus Dark Sim, is going to take the poly that I took from the mage after the mage cast a poly. I'm gonna take that from him, and then I'm gonna put the poly onto the healer that I have focused. And you can see that guy over there. He's got Dark Sim on him. I have focused this. Okay, you can do the same thing with Asphyxiate. You're beating on this guy, and then your healer has your focus. The healer, he's like cloned him, or the person you're running with has polyed him or something like that. You usually don't like to run with mages because they use polys. and I break those often with Howling Blast. But you can also focus Asphyxiate out of that. You can focus Death Grip if you want to slow down a healer. Like if someone is overextended and you're near the healer, you can slow them down with that. And you can also Death Grip in the healer, pull them in, and then focus stun them. So that's up to you guys, man. How you use these is up to you, but I have them set up for Icy Touch, Dark Sim, Asphyxiate, Chains of Ice, and Death Grip, and all of those are the exact same thing with the spell name here, and then /cast at focus in brackets, and then the spell name. And then I also have one for focus mind freeze as well, so I can I'm beating on this guy doing whatever, and then this guy starts casting something, I can immediately mind freeze him and go back to what I was doing. And make sure that if you're gonna use a focus mind freeze button, something I was messing up for a little while, it's a kick, right? So you want your kick to be readily available. So if you hit your kick on this guy, you hit your mind freeze, and you know this is gonna be quick. Like this is a fast button for me. I don't want it to be focus. I don't want it to be like alt in that button. Yeah, I have that set up to Pillar of Frost, because that's a slow button that I'm not going to use like quickly. I have this set up to a button that's readily available, and as soon as I hit it, it's going to go. So make sure that that's quick, because if you miss your mind freeze, you got what is it, 10 seconds? No, 15 seconds until you can use it again. So make sure that you're using that effectively. And for, I have the same thing set up for if I have Death Pact or if I have Conversion. I've got 2 macros set up for that, so when I use my Death Pact, I also use my Healthstone. This is, if you use Death Pact and Healthstone at the exact same time, you can heal yourself for like 70% of your health. So that's something to keep in mind. And also, Conversion, if you want to start your Conversion and use your Healthstone at the exact same time, you can do that as well. But as far as macros are concerned, honestly, I just have a bunch of focus macros and big boy beat the hell out of you macro, and then the one that sets my focus in arena. And this actually something I noticed too was if you set focus arena 2, if you have this set up and you're in a battleground, the guys that come up over here, your flag carrier is always going to be arena 1, and their flag carrier is always going to be arena 2. So that's always cool. If you're in a BG, your the faction that you are, your flag carrier is always going to be arena 1. Theirs is always going to be arena 2. If you're in like Temple of Top Mogu, whoever's got the second orb is going to be who you focus if you have arena 2. So for that one it doesn't work, but for like Warsong Gulch or Deep One Gorge, Twin Peaks, the flag carrying maps, you're gonna be focusing their guy all the time. So if their flag carrier is running through and you've been beating on people this whole time, you can just focus Death Grip the guy in and then stun him and kill him, swap to him. So this, pretty much everything that I do is just like this. Stun the focus, do a bunch of damage, try not to waste too much runic power by keeping too much, and then running through using your rhyme procs. It's not called rhyme anymore, but you know, use what you can, use what you got. The macros here are really simple, but how you use them is really effective. I'm gonna go through a Dark Sim video at some point and tell you how you can use Dark Sim and situationally how you can make people do what you want them to do with Dark Sim later on. But thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you liked the video, if it helped you out, hit the like button. If you really like the channel and you want to see more Frost Deathknight guides, or just Deathknight guides in general, or just class guides, I might do some other stuff too, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to leave comments below. The reason this video exists is because somebody left a comment and said, hey man, can you make a macro guide? So if you want to see more, tell me you want to see more, and I will make it for you. Thanks guys, this is Project, I'm out.